Alright, hello guys, I'm back with another video. Consistency is the name of the game. So today, I want to talk about assets. I did a show yesterday about a job board. You guys go back and check that video out. But essentially it was talking about how the average person making $15 an hour is not going to make it in our society because they're negative $16,000 for the year based on the average expenses in the country. So that video led me to make this video because the question is, if I'm not making enough, if I am making enough, is just saving the money good enough to, just move forward? And to tell you the truth, it's not. Regardless of what people tell you, what your family tells you, what your friends may tell you, what the TV tells you, saving is for losers. If you're saving money, you are a loser. And when I say saving money, I mean just stashing money away just to, just let it sit in a bank account, sit under your bed, sit in a vault somewhere in a safe, and, just letting it pile up while inflation eats away at it. That's what I mean by that. Now, obviously, if you have cash set aside for an emergency, like an emergency fund, that's absolutely fine. In fact, you are a genius by having that. But if you already have an emergency fund and you're still just stashing cash away, I'm telling you now that is a very, very dumb and nitwitted move. Okay. So what I've done is I've gone and I've researched different assets that I'm invested in myself. But, when you understand the numbers, once you understand the numbers, everything makes sense. Okay. So I was just I'm like, well, what about 30 years ago or around 30 years ago? If someone could go back in time and make some money, or, obviously increase their value, what would they have invested in? Right. So I took 4 different types of assets, 4 assets that I myself am a part of. And oh my gosh, I thought my mic was off. Okay. So I took those assets and I said, what would happen if we were able to save $25,000? So we have $25,000 in hard cash, cold hard cash money. $25,000. We worked our butts off to save this money. Why? Because the median income in 1990 was $29,000. Adjusted for inflation today, that'll be about $63,000. In fact, this is going to be a whole nother video because this opened up the door for another video. So I'm going to release that video at another date. So, like, subscribe. If you want to, get updates and get new videos, new content, just please be sure to do that, to subscribe. But anyway, so I said, okay, we worked hard. We got $25,000 in cold, hard cash. What do we do with it? So I said, well, let's look at gold. Gold is an inflation hedge. It's been around for thousands of years. It stood the test of time. It's one of the few assets that we do have that shows, it withstanding, it's retaining its value over time. So if we were to take our $25,000 and buy gold in 1990, the price was around $386. So with $25,000, we would have been able to purchase 64 ounces of gold. 64 ounces. Okay. fast forward to today. Let's say we took that gold and we put it into a safe, we put it into a locked vault, and we were not going to be able to touch it for 30 years. So we're just going to say 30 years. Today, the price of gold is around $1,950, around $1,900, $1,950, around that place. It fluctuates up and down, but that's where it is today. Today, that same amount of gold, 64 ounces, would be $126,000. Guys, $126,000. Your $25,000 30 years ago has now increased to $126,000. That's a 400% increase. That is what an asset does. An asset retains its value. It fights against inflation. It protects your capital against inflation, because guess what? In a fiat system where there's money, paper money that's not backed by anything, okay, there is always going to be inflation. So your money will always be devalued if you do not have it in assets. So I said, well, that's gold. Let's look at another, hard, tangible asset that retains its value over time. And so the next asset is real estate. Okay, real estate is the next asset. Real estate itself, there are many studies out there. I suggest you do your research, but real estate, it goes up over time for the most part. Okay, so the average home in 1990, this is just the average, was $122,000 on average, right? A 20% down payment would have been $25,000, around $25,000 as a 20% down payment. Okay, so you would took that $25,000 and you said, hey, I'm going to put this $25,000 into a piece of property, and I'm going to hold that property, and I'm going to, hold it, 30 years. Okay, that's what you used it for. Today, that property that you spent $25,000 on as a down payment, it is now worth, on average, because the average home today is worth around $416,000. So now, your $25,000 that you put into a $122,000 home, that $122,000 home is now worth $416,000 today. That is a 250% increase. Okay. Now you can go back and, obviously, you can do calculations to where, you take about, all the interest that was paid. Obviously, the interest that was paid, usually in these cases, it's probably doubles the price of the home. So you probably paid about $100 and something thousand in interest, not knowing those calculations. But still, at the end of the day, if you're able to sell the home for around $400,000 plus, you're up at least 100%. Okay, just by putting the $25,000 in as a down payment instead of sticking away under your mattress. Okay, so you're up. So with gold, you're up 400%. Real estate, you're up 250% on average. The next asset where you could take your $25,000 is, of course, stocks. Stocks are very, very great tool, asset to use to preserve your capital, to increase your capital. In 1990, if you were to put that $25,000 that you worked your butt off to save, you put that $25,000 into an S&P 500 and you let it sit there, have all the dividends reinvested, that $25,000 today would have turned into $639,000. So that would have been a 2,500% increase. 2,500% is what you would have made if you would have put $25,000 into the S&P 500 in 1990. Not touch it, just stick it away. That's how much you would have today. Okay. The next asset would be bonds. Bonds are an asset. Hey, you purchase bonds. Sure, it's debt you're issuing out. Basically you're loaning the government or loaning other parties money, and you're getting a return. So that is an asset. You are getting some type of return on your money. The average compounded return on bonds over a 30-year period was around 4.18%. Okay, 4.18%. So if you would have did 4.18% over a 30-year period, your $25,000 would have been around $87,000 today. Actually, in 33 years, which would be today, would actually be worth $99,000. So in 30 years, it would have been worth $87,000. In 33 years, it would be worth $99,000. So you would have made it around a 250 to 300% return. Just by, putting your $25,000 into bonds and having it compound over and over and over for 30 years. That's what you would have made. So you would have been up 250, 300%. That is an asset. So, gold, real estate, stocks, bonds, four primary assets that a lot of people use to maintain, preserve their capital. Now, this is where the silliness comes into play. Okay, if you worked your butt off and you saved your $25,000 and you had $25,000 in 1990, and you said to yourself, you know what, I'm going to stick this $25,000 into a vault or a safe or a bank account that's not yielding anything. I'm going to take that $25,000 and I'm just going to sit there, and you know what, I'm either going to, just let my kid have it in 33 years or 30 years, or I'm going to, just save it for retirement. So when I retire in about 30 years, I'll just take that I have $25,000 in cash that I can use to splurge with in 2023. Well, I have some bad news for you. It takes $2.34 today just to equal the same dollar from 1990. I'll repeat that again. It takes $2.34 today to equal the same dollar from 1990. That's insane. That means that the purchase price, the average purchase prices have increased 133%. All this means is that your dollar today buys 43% less than what it would have bought in 1990. Your dollar today is practically worth half of what it would have been worth in 1990. So you would have been down 50%. If you would have put it in gold, you would have been up 400. You would put it in real estate, it would have been up around 200. In bonds, you'd have been up around 200, 300%. In stocks, 2,500%. With the S&P 500, you would have been up. But if you would have just stuck that cash under your mattress or in a safe somewhere to try to access it today in the future, you would have been highly pissed, because you would have it wouldn't have purchased half or nearly half of what it would have in 1990. So anytime people come to you about saving, just saving hard, cold hard cash, with what's going on with the government today and them having to borrow $5 billion a day for the next 10 years. Yes, look it up. In fact, I'm going to do a video on it. With them doing this, this is going to debase and devalue our currency even more. So the money that we have today, the money in the future, it's going to take more money in the future to equal the money that we have today. Same thing as today's money. It takes more of our money today to equal the amount of money from 1990. So over time, the value of the currency, it gets worse and worse and worse. It purchases less and less and less. So in order to protect yourself from the demise of your currency, the best thing to do is to purchase assets, okay? Invest in assets that retain their value over time and actually increase over time, so that you're not stuck with a debased currency, and you can actually actually enjoy the money that you've saved because you invested it. So that's the video today. More videos are to come, and whoever out there is listening, thanks for listening. Don't forget to comment if you want. Please do comment, like, subscribe. I enjoy you guys, so thank you so much, and you take care. Bye.